Hello and welcome to this week's casual review. If it's your first time here, welcome. And but if you come back here every Friday to check out what games I'm talking about that I finished months ago, welcome back. Anyway, this time around we're talking about Horizon Zero Dawn. I finished the game back in December, and you can totally tell that I am recording this in December, hence the Christmas tree. And why you're seeing something with a Christmas tree on a video that's going live on YouTube in like late February, early March of 2024. Anyway, Horizon Zero Dawn. My one and only playthrough took about 53 hours. I did pretty much everything that one could do that was story related. We did the Frozen Wilds DLC. We found all the collectibles. We did all the tall necks. We liberated every camp. We maxed Alloy out to level 60. We unlocked every one of her skills. We essentially, if you could look me up on over on TrueTrophies.com, you will see that I roughly have about uh I would say 80-ish% of the trophies done, give or take. Like some of the stuff that I did not do were stuff that would have just like added and probably another 10 to 15 hours of playtime, because a lot of it was the hunting trials, and those would obviously involve a lot of trial and error depending on how certain things needed to be done. I like the controls. The controls were for me very reminiscent of the Tomb Raider Survivor trilogy, particularly since Laura Croft in those games, her primary weapon is the bow and arrow, and what is Aloy's entire combat kit built around using bows and arrows, slingshots, things of that particular sort. Although I will admit, like since I did the Frozen Wilds DLC fairly early in the game, since you can access that just by doing everything on the eastern half of the map first, and you can just head up to the cut, and you can get the best weapons and armors pretty damn early in the game. You don't even have to go past the first major checkpoint where it says you have to deal with all the corrupted zones first before you can get to go to the western half of the map. You can go and do the Frozen Wilds almost from the get go, and that will make you straight up overpowered. With how good those weapons are and how they can freaking tear into some of the larger enemies in the game. There is nothing like ripping into a Thunderjaw with the attachment that turns the Aloy's staff into basically a super shocky weapon that has a bit of an overheat kickback to it. But ripping apart a Thunderjaw or the late game enemies, those massive Deathbringers, is freaking hilarious. Just to see them just get melted in like in about a dozen or so shots, particularly if you hit them in the weak points with it. So it's like, yes, I'm all about making my gaming experience as easy as possible, and and being overpowered when at all possible. Um, so with that said, since I did the Frozen Wild stuff first, now it was also how I kind of played the game is like I took a systematic approach of doing everything in a particular area first that wasn't related to the main quest. So doing all of the finding all the vessels, finding all the figurines, finding all the metal flowers, those doing all the tall necks, finding all the vantage points. Those were like my big priority, as well as any side quests. Like again, anything not related to the main story. So by the time I got all that done, as like I'm focusing on the main story, it was almost like a straight run. It's like it's having to go into areas and not really have to deal with more complications than I need to. It's like, okay, did all the corrupted zones early, so I didn't have to deal with those enemies running around when I went back into those areas when another quest took me back that way. So, and that's one thing I absolutely love about open world games. That if you looked at my playthroughs for Cyberpunk 2077, I it was like, what's in the area? What do I need to do? That was my approach. Do all the side stuff first, and then worry about the main story. So it's again, it just added so much more flavor to it. It's like I do like to take my time with open world games, um, particularly when an open world game is focused. So you can definitely consider that a shot at Starfield as well. Again, a game that I was very disappointed in, but we're not talking about that here. Horizon Zero Dawn's overall story and theme, with humanity being basically wiped out by its own creation, definitely gave me like, okay, this is the Earth after like basically Skynet won, which essentially it did. But there is a couple of plot holes, and again, I looked at and I went into every conversation. There is a plot hole regarding the whole Gaia thing and how it relates to the Pharaoh virus and the AIs, like the corruption with Hades. There's a bit of a plot hole there, as far as I'm concerned. But essentially, what this comes down to is essentially what the world of the that you see in the future of the Terminator franchise is like. Skynet won, and humanity's making a comeback. And it's like that's what essentially it came down to me. So it's like, which I could appreciate to a very large degree, particularly when the twist that I find out that Aloy was basically created by a machine. I was thinking, no, she's human as far as we can tell, but she's also like, okay, she is a clone, and she was created by a machine for the purpose of saving the world, dealing with the enemies. So that was kind of cool. I really like the story and all the little details. Go around dealing with, learning about all the little people along the way. The little prison at like the southwest portion of the map had a nice little side quest. So tracking down three fugitives. The stuff in the Sun Ring, the Shadow Carja's version of the Sun King, and liberating that little dude and his mom and getting them into Meridian. That was a nice little psycho quest to do, particularly since it gets referenced in the since it got referenced when what was it, when Aloy gets captured and Helios is having the talk with her. It's like all the stuff that Aloy has done, particularly as it relates to basically being a thorn in his side. So again, I thought a lot of these story elements were really, really cool, really well done. Um, it's like all just about every character was very, very charming. To a very to various degrees there. So there wasn't a character I did not dislike. It's like everyone's there was like, okay, these people are tolerable. Even the villains, even the more antagonistic characters in the game. It's like, okay, it's like there was a nice charm to them. It's like, okay, uh, I just kind of like a good vibe with it in terms of how all the characters and how everything connected in the story. And also get that big payoff by doing everything too. You get the big payoff, and you use like all the characters, you key characters you met along the way. By doing the side quest, you end up seeing them during like the end game battle, fighting for Meridian and protecting the Spire. You see these side characters that they're there, they're fighting by your side. So that's definitely uh again some I can truly appreciate it. Is like this that nice little like bring everyone together made it worth it. Now, would I play this game again? Like beginning to end, would I play it again? It's kind of like in the same vibe of Marvel Spider-Man, since there is a trophy associated with doing a new game plus run that is separate from the initial trophy list. So there is that possibility I would at some point. Beginning then, I would do it again, particularly since I get to keep all my gear and I don't have to unlock everything. It's like I will go into it uber powered. I would have all my stuff and do everything over again. But at the same time, I would more likely, before I even do a new game plus run, I would reload up my current save and try and complete all the remaining trophies. Because all the other trophies I have was just stuff that I guess related to weapons tutorials that's in the Frozen Wild area, as far as near as I can tell, and doing all the hunting trials, trying and like getting like the Blazing Suns and all of those, so like stuff like that, as well as finding the two power cells I couldn't find to get the ancient armor. So it's like little things like that that's like, okay, they're there, but they're not necessary to the overall enjoyment or experience. They're there. They're like the extra stuff to do. There's like that very few people actually went out of the way to do. Like if I was looking at those percentages correctly. But do I recommend people play this game? Absolutely. I definitely recommend folks play this game. I don't know what the PlayStation 5 like remastered fix, the updated version is like. I played the PlayStation 4 version of this game. But yeah, it was like I definitely highly recommend it. If there were any bug fixes, and actually I didn't run into any real bugs or glitches or anything with the version with the complete edition on the PS4. So I can't imagine what would have been done or adjusted in the PS5 version. Now the question is, I know folks will ask, when will I get around to playing Horizon Forbidden West? And my answer to that is going to be the same answer as it relates to Marvel Spider-Man 2. When I get around to getting a PS5. I don't have a PlayStation 5. Um, Granted, I have a donation link below, but I rather says like if you want to help keep the lights on or anything of that sort, if you're going to use the donation link that's in the description, rather it be designated for using it for stuff other than to help keep the lights on and things of that sort. But but that's a whole other thing there. A PlayStation 5 is not a priority because I have a bunch of PlayStation 4 games that I want to get through first. Granted, I know they can be used the whole backward compatibility thing, but I have a decent PlayStation console. I have a nice library with it, and I'll get around to getting a PS5 eventually. Eventually. So with that said, that wraps everything up here. So thank you very much. If you have your comments and stuff regarding Horizon Zero Dawn, leave them in the comment section below. Obviously, I would say like and subscribe, but people don't do that. But it's like no matter how you tell them, it's like YouTube wants us to say it, but it's like no one does it. I don't do it when I go onto other people's channels. It's like it's like when I see it. I don't know. Anyway, tighten your friendship bracelet. Stay safe. Have a good one, and we'll see y'all in the next video. Depending on what the heck that would be.